Hello guys, it is the most super Jew with a game against Tacodude007 and, Wi-Fi battle match. And I'm not going to go over the teams because I don't have the time, so let's get this started. He's not using his game, he is instead using one of my games that has some of his Pokemon on it. I trade them back over, but yes. So he starts off with his Weavile, Seminole, and I start off with my Politoed. And I know it really can't hurt me that much because, well, first of all, I set up my Drizzle. And I know it can't hurt me that much, but I'm just going to switch out and go into Fortress to get up those entry hazards. And I know it can't hurt Fortress that much. But he goes for the Swords Dance, and I know I could take a bunch of hits because it has nothing super effective against me. Then he goes for the Ice Punch, and that's not very effective, and I don't know if this carries any fighting type moves on it or anything, but he did a decent amount. I mean, I'm not running a physically defensive fortress. This is actually a specially defensive fortress. So I sped up my first thing of spikes, and then he goes for the Night Slash, which again is not doing much damage. Then, oh wait, alright, second layer of Toxic Spikes. I am sorry for my earlier error. Getting the lefties, very nice. Then he goes for another sword stance. So now it's starting to frighten me because, as you can see, Fortress is not taking the hits very well. But that's okay because I go for my first layer of spikes. And the spikes are gathered around his team. Alright, getting my lefties. Then he goes for his Night Slash. And that, if I remember, doesn't kill me. Oh, no way, it does. Oh, because he gets crit. Because of the crit, he kills me. And then, because to revenge kill it, I go into my Metagross and threaten him out with the Bullet Punch. And so he goes into his Dragonite. And I know because of previous usage, this Dragonite is actually a bulky Dragon Dance one. Unfortunately, I don't have any phasers on my team, so I decided to keep him Metagross because right now he's the best thing to take the hits. And also, I really want the Stealth Rocks up because it would actually hinder his team quite a bit. So there I do, get up the Stealth Rocks, and everyone's getting lefties, all that fun sort of stuff. And then I switch out, going to my own Dragonite to hopefully get up the Shuffle Sweep because this is the Paralyze and Dragon Tail Dragonite, and I know it's kind of lowsy, but it's actually pretty good, and I really want to try it out. But unfortunately, I'm running a very specially defensive Dragonite, so I do not take the hit well at all, even through the multi-scale. So at least I get the Thunder Wave off on him, and he is paralyzed, so he won't be fast at all, and I could come in with something decently powerful and try and do some damage to him. So I switch out and I go back into my Metagross because right now he's the only thing that on my team that really wants to be taking those Dragon Claw hits. As you could see from the team preview earlier, my team really isn't take the big hits too well. I mean, we have the Metagross, I have the Fortress, but then I go for the Meteor Mash, and because of the multi-scale, it does next to nothing, which is not good. And then he goes for the Fire Punch, which will do a lot, but I do have a good amount of HP and I think a little bit of physical investment, so I take the hit okay, decently well. Then I go for another Meteor Mash because why not? I have to hurt this Dragonite somehow. And he gets Power Hacks, which is lucky for me because I didn't want to take another Fire Punch. I probably could have taken it, but I really didn't want to. And, it always helps not to take the Fire Punches. So I go for another Meteor Mash, knowing that it will kill this time. Thank God this Dragonite was even sort of a threat with the Paralyze. So I take that out, and that is all good. Get my lefties, and then he goes into his Chandelure. And even in the rain, the Fire Blast will be doing a good amount of damage to me. So I decided to just switch out into my Politoed because my Politoed is bulky. I'm getting ahead of myself here. But I then switch into my Politoed. Politoed's bulky, and I know it could take anything that this Chandelure wants to send its way, barring any grass type moves such as Grass Knot or Energy Ball. But I tend to not see that. Getting the lefties, and I'm not seeing Life Orb, and I'm not seeing the leftovers, so I'm just gonna assume it's Scarfed, and because of the damage, I think Scarf is fair to say. So he sends in Hungry Luma, and I speed it up here because it's very, very stally, because I am very bulky, and he's not doing much to me. I'm doing a decent amount to him, but I really can't damage this at all unless I get a burn. So it's going to be sped up through all the Iron Heads, which I don't even know do any damage to me after the leftovers, and the Body Slams, and the Paralyzed and the Flinches, and it wishing up. So I'm just going to be keep speeding up until I get that burn, because when I get that burn, I can switch into something that can take the hits easier, because basically anything can take the burned hits, because I know his Jirachi probably has no attack investment. So finally, oh wait, no, not this turn. By slams, I get the burn. Yes. And so with that, I decide to switch back into my Dragonite, which I know could take, which I didn't see this, forgot about the Stealth Rock, so I was worried because I knew it couldn't take the hit. Sort of as a death fodder. I guess I didn't have to fodder it out. But I go on I go for the roost on the turn that it switches out. My voice is not working here. I'm talking weirdly. And I get back up a lot of my HP, but I know this threatens me out with Ice Punch a lot. So I switch back out to my Metagross, which is actually doing more than enough this match, as he Ice Punches, and it does not much at all. So I restore my HP with my leftovers, he gets hurt by poison, and he withdraws his Pokemon, and goes into Poltergust on my Bullet Punch. But as you can see, all the entry hazards do so much, and the Bullet Punch does just enough so that the poison will take it out, and I do not have to worry about that Scarf Chandelure, which could actually be quite a threat, but I actually had other Pokemon to it. I had the Scarf Haxorus, which I never brought out this match, which is useful. Brings in his Seminole. I know I could take that out with Bullet Pen, and that is good to go. Then he brings out his Cloyster, and we all know that Cloyster shell smashes. So I was afraid he would shell smash, but apparently he wants to go for the Icicle Spear, which does absolutely nothing to me. As I hammer arm and almost get the kill, I know even at 0 defense investment, this still has 396 defense, so the poison will take it out, and that is very good. So he goes back into Jirachi, and I switch in my Gengar, predicting the headbutt, but he actually goes for the wish. But that doesn't matter to me because from this range, I'm pretty darn sure that my Shadow Ball can take it out, even though it's neutral. But Gengar is actually a really good Pokemon, so I wasn't doubting it. So then he goes into Mienshao, and this is his last Pokemon, and I figure Mienshao really can't do anything to me barring Stone Edge, so I'll just set up a substitute, and if he decides to Stone Edge, I can disable. But let's just see. Turns out, well, I go for the Focus Blast just for lulz, because why not? I knew I was gonna win. If the really odd chance that Gengar gets knocked out, I do again have that Scarf Haxorus, which can take this out. So I finally get the Focus Blast. He can't even break my sub with his U-turn. And the Focus Blast does take him out. So good game, Tacodude007.